Can you hear me?
Yes, Joey, I
Well,
can.
so
Welcome on
I
stage.
hid myself so well so, that nobody could find me. So can you please confirm that everything is fine? I can start the presentation.
You can
Yeah, you
start the
hear me.
presentation.
Perfect.
You
Thank
are
you,
like
by
the
the way,
rock
that you
star.
guys were
You come
waiting for
always a
us
little bit
because
late.
yeah. So thank you for waiting for us. I know it's been a couple minutes, and I hope that not everyone is watching Docker right now. How to install. So let me right away start the presentation. And at the end of the presentation, you will have the chance to ask questions as well. Um, it's two of us today because I'm gonna talk about the the part how we build up what we did, and Luke will help me to answer questions regarding the design part and other challenges in case you want to ask something about that. So um, let me start this. How do I? Okay. So very quickly about myself, I've been working with Mautic since 2017. And training people and teams. And I love projects with Mautic in general, custom projects, everything which is a little bit weird or anything which is very challenging. I really like to tackle that. I'm working for Friendly Automate. We have around 80 clients, mostly from Switzerland, and sometimes they do have special needs. These are clients which are small, and some of them are very big. And today's story will be about a company which is a big pharma. I can't disclose that which one, but it's a big pharmaceutical company, and we started to work together with them, offering Friendly Automate. That's our Mautic solution, with the purpose of making their life a little bit easier. So the whole thing started that I'm sure you know how it's going or how it works in the medical sphere, that the doctors are visited by salespeople who are trying to convince them to use certain medicine, possibly the medicine which the pharmaceutical company is selling. And these doctor visits are very important because it's a personal touch point between the doctor and the salesperson, and they wanted to automatize that a little bit. The reason was they wanted to make sure that these meetings are as efficient as possible, and also because they wanted to make sure that that there is some kind of reporting behind it. So they told us, okay, we would like to digitalize this. So instead of just going there with a bunch of flyers, how about that? They take an iPad, they make a contact, talk about stuff, and then later the information is sent to them. So in our first solution, what we did was that we used forms in kiosk mode with Mautic. These forms collected information, and with the use of campaigns and assets, we sent out the personalized emails to the doctors. And that worked out really well. We had very good connection. We had very good cooperation with this pharma company, because they saw that we can do stuff. They really liked our reports, and they really liked the way how we personalized the email. So the sales representative no longer had to bring that bunch of flyers, but just click. And then using tweak templates, by the way, we managed to send the right assets, attachments to the client. So the second part of the cooperation was, and I'm not sure which one precedes the other one, it doesn't really matter, but the second part is creation of a sales portal, where they asked us to create a password protected site, and they would upload all kind of materials like presentations, information, order sheets, compliance materials. These are things which you normally don't do in Mautic. Like, you don't make an intranet in Mautic, but they said, "Can you do that?" And we were like, "That sounds like fun." So we did it. This is mostly was Lukas's project. project. Basically, this page here, what you see, unfortunately, it's not a live page here, just a screenshot, but it's really nice CSS work with animations, and we have restricted access to people who's supposed to have an access. So it's a password protected Mautic page, intranet page, and it works really well. By the way, on my blog you can also find information how to password protect Mautic landing pages. So we had two areas of cooperation with this company. And then we were like, okay, that's great, it's going so well, what else can we automate? So the client is very, very cool. Actually, she's very progressive, she's all for automation, and she was driving this project. So let's see what we can automate. And she was telling us that, there's this event management thing. So we have all these doctors and we have all these salespeople, and the salespeople are managing different events for these doctors. They are once in a quarter or once a month, they have some kind of small or bigger event where they go, and they have to spend money there, the sales representatives, to talk to the doctors, which has to be approved. So what if we just automate that? So in our head right away, this is the automation what came up. Pretty simple, no, right? Finally we can use Mautic automation. There is a salesperson who will create an event and ask for approval, and we can all send the emails automatically. I mean, how hard it can be. So after sitting down with a client, we realized that it is a little bit more than that. We actually, how it's going, and I don't know if you can see my mouse pointer here. By the way, I don't see the chat right now, guys, because I'm watching my own screen. So I'm not sure that you are asking questions. I don't know, Lucas, if any questions are coming up, can you interrupt me with that? So let's go back to my presentation. 1 second. Sorry. Oh, I know. Okay. So the salesperson will create an event using a Mautic form, and we have to upload there a bunch of custom fields. They have to be able to upload contracts, which is okay because Mautic can do file uploads, and then it has to be approved by someone in the someone who is not a contact, let's put it this way, give a feedback if the event is okay because you're spending within your spending limits, or it's okay to, I don't know, spend so much on hotel and so on. Then if it's approved, then it goes further. So a travel agent will also get the information, and the salesperson also gets a feedback. If it's a no, because you're spending too much or we're not going to participate, then you get a negative feedback. And they wanted to have some kind of dashboard for it. Plus, they would love to see some reporting. So they wanted to see, okay, we want to see custom fields based on the success of the project. They wanted to see, for example, how many people you talked to there, what kind of flyers you gave out, how many were the total participants. Make some pictures, please, and upload. And in general, if you don't upload the pictures, don't give me the report, then I want to bug you with reminders. So the project right away grew in scope, quite big, but it didn't, at this time, didn't show us anything scary. So we, by the way, came to the conclusion that we do have to use custom objects. Custom objects is an amazing plugin. You can do one-to-many relations. So one salesperson can have multiple events. It's been developed by Acquia, super stable. It was immediately like a light bulb in our head. So we're going to use custom objects because also it has you can create custom fields for the objects. You can link them to a contact. This is what we want. We want the salesperson contact to have an event. You can use custom objects in forms. You can use them in campaigns. You can use them in email segments. It's just like meant to be. But then when we were a little bit like digging how custom objects work and how much we know about it, we realized that there is too much custom about it. Like, we got a little bit cold feet from custom. Everything is a special thing. Every single way, everything event or every single action you use custom objects with is going to be tricky, because it turned out that what we wanted to do, these custom objects just cannot do it out of the box. So we were like going back, okay, so we cannot use the custom objects. Obviously, this would be the obvious thing. How can we go around this? So we took out the custom object from this equation, and we realized the easiest way to do this is if we say a multi-contact will be an event. So we're not going to make a marketing automation for the salespeople where they can manage their events, but we're going to make an automation where the event is the multi-contact. So we no longer have people there, we only have events in the marketing automation. That would be our solution. But in order this to work, we need a couple of rules. Number one rule, we have to install a new Mautic. And the reason is that we cannot have, we cannot mix a Mautic where people can be multi-contacts and events can be multi-contacts. So it's not going to end well. We already knew that. And the second one, we're not going to give access to this Mautic to the client. And the client was quite happy with that, because we already, like you saw it before, and this is why I showed you, we already solved this problem of logins and restricting content on our landing pages. So if we could do that, we can also do this. We can only do everything through landing pages. We can make them basically edit the Mautic itself, the data in Mautic, through the landing pages. And this idea was the one which actually caused us later the biggest problems. But this is a redrawing of our original plan. So let's go from the salesperson. Yeah, we can do one-to-many relation. Sure, event is a contact, basically. Great. For a contact, we can set the custom fields. Amazing. We can upload things. Cool. We can do this through Mautic forms. Yes, great. Approval process can be sent to a custom email address to the boss. And everything else is like basic campaign management in Mautic. There is one more twist, that we have to give an owner to this contact, which is an event. And that's going to be the owner of the contact. So we have the one-to-many relation. So we basically solved all the problems just like that. Reporting. We have custom fields. Yeah. So custom fields can store the reporting data. Each event stores data about, when it's going to happen, but also what happened in this event. So we just list all those things in the reports, and we are done. About reminders, easy to do. We can do a campaign as long as someone is not filling out the custom fields about reporting, we send reminders. Or we can just use Mautic built-in reporting, like, scheduled or whatever. So client was happy. We felt pretty good about ourselves. And thank you for your attention. Besides, this is not how it went down. And now my presentation will be a little bit technical, because I want to show you what we thought it would be, how we tried to solve it, and then resolve it again. So it's going to be technical, not as technical as the other presentation in the other room. So if you are excited about Docker, you should head out there. But if you want to see how we solve these challenges and how we actually hit ourselves, like hit our heads many times, in what problems we bumped our heads into, then stay with me. So the challenges were, how can I create new events? That was one question. If I'm not letting in people into Mautic, how can I create new events? How can I view those events in details? And how can I edit them? How can I edit events I already created? So how can I edit Mautic contacts without logging into Mautic and without developing whole new things? Okay, so this is here the form what we created. We intended to solve this problem of adding new events by creating a form. It's a standard Mautic form where you would have to fill out the name of the event, and you just have organizer as a drop-down. Then you have the budget. Then you fill out dates. It's standard Mautic things. It's all just standard Mautic fields. You can upload files. You can have conditional field, show this and that, and so on. And we did this. So adding the form, the first form where you are creating the events, was already solved. Great. But what about the editing? And in order to understand how the editing works, I want to show you some example data. So let's say you created a new event where Joe at bigpharma.ch is the event, the contact email address, because you need that. Yeah. So without the contact email address, you cannot have a contact. Then you have an event name, you have a salesperson, and the budget. This is how it looks in the database right now. So this would be like your leads table. In order to edit a form which is related to this data, you can use a trick where you are pre-filling the email address on a landing page, and that's what's representing here, this URL, what you see. And if you place a form on this landing page where you use autofill data and show when value exists settings, then everything will be filled out. So in the right side here, I don't know, I can click on this, great. So this would be basically filled out. So if I'm passing this Joe at bigpharma.ch and everything else is set as autofill data, then all the data will appear. Let me show you how it actually works if I go more into details. So you enter this URL, then a cookie will be replaced. Like we actually will say that, okay, now this here, what I'm filling out, like this URL here, what it's going to do is that it's going to tell Mautic that this person who is visiting is Joe at bigpharma.ch. And the next step is that the Mautic cookie will be set, and at the same time, the form will be populated with the rest of the data. So basically, we do two things in one step. First, we say that this guy who is visiting right now is Joe at bigpharma.ch, and we pre-fill the form with the data which is related to Joe at bigpharma.ch. So that was basically the trick what we wanted to use, the pre-filling the data combined with identifying the contact who is visiting. And that would work, but the problem is that it does not work how we want it. Because if we had multiple events being checked out on the same computer, and that's actually how it should work, they should check out on the same computer, because one person is all the time checking the different events. If that happens, we are completely confusing that cookie. Like what it would do is it would replace contacts, override contacts, would take an event and change it with another email address. And if we're using kiosk mode to circumvent that, then we are losing the very functionality which would allow us to pre-fill those forms. So we actually realized this is not going to work. If we use the cookie, if the cookie stays in the background, the cookie handling, then this is not going to work. So what we did, we just killed the cookie, and we added this script in every single landing page, which does remove the cookie from you. So this way we could get rid of all the Mautic identification or tracking basically, and still use the pre-fillment of the forms, because the cookie wouldn't be any more confused. So the second problem is that we have multiple events by the same email. And by that, what I mean is that we have to get some kind of email. We have to add some kind of email to those events. And normally it would be the salesperson's email, because that's the only thing what we know. They will not give an email address to their events because it doesn't make sense. So we somehow have to generate it. It cannot be that we store it like this in the database, because you cannot have multiple email addresses, same email address assigned to multiple contacts in Mautic. So our solution to that was using a plugin. You can see here how we try to break it down. We use the plus sign. I don't know if you're aware of it, but by using this plus, what you can do is you tell the server that Joe at bigpharma.ch is supposed to get this email. Anything behind the plus will be ignored. So that's just, you can use it for testing as well. But inside of Mautic, it would be 3 different email addresses. So I would have Joe plus spring event, Joe plus summer event, and Joe plus autumn event. How can we auto-generate that? So what we did, there is a free plugin called Form Actions. And with the Form Actions plugin, you can say that whatever happens, whatever is filled out in a certain field, using Twig language, you can transform it into something. So in our case, what we did, we took the template of joe at bigpharma.ch. So we took, it's not a template actually, it's like we took the name from the original salesperson and added some kind of little text after the plus. And actually the client loved it. It was a great idea. She even asked us, can we use special characters? For example, let's come together, shall we, would be the name of the campaign. By using it, different Twig actions, we managed to change it to something where we filtered out all the special characters. So we felt pretty good about ourselves. Until the point when we realized that their mail server doesn't allow the use of a plus sign for security reasons. So all our plan was based on using that plus, but unfortunately, it was not allowed in their mail servers. The emails would never arrive. So back to our original problem. How can we change our email addresses by some kind of rule, some kind of automation, and still keep the database sane? So what we did, we have our own mail server. We use it for friendly clients. We have different kinds of cool stuff. Like you can actually manage campaigns just by sending a BCC email to a certain email address. But this is not important right now. Right now, what's important is that we did set up a forward because our mail server allowed a plus. So we could use this by generating, like using a fake email, which is a friendly email, and whatever comes to the friendly email will be forwarded to the real Big Pharma email address. So this would solve our problem. Each event can notify the event owner, basically, and it would still work. Until we realized that there are some issues inside of Mautic itself. So we could program these form actions, and it would work at a certain extent. But the problem is that when an event was created, an email address was automatically assigned as well. And that email address, if it was already in the system, then it would rewrite the previous event. And the original email address which is created is the one which we could not change yet. So it didn't work out after all. And there was no way for us to change the order how the form actions are executed. Right now, Mautic, you can move them, but actually the order how they executed is not changed. So either we dig deep in the database and then fix it, or we go back to a planning table and look at the custom objects again. So luckily, the client is super. She gave us time. So we were like, no way we're gonna go back to the custom objects. I mean, just let's think one more time. So why don't we just take out the problem of an emails by taking out the email in general? And that's a little bit uncharted territory for me, at least at that time it was, because what happens if you remove the email from Mautic? So we did not completely remove it, but you have the choice, you have the opportunity in Mautic to remove the email as a unique identifier. So you can have multiple contacts with the same email and the system will still work, but you have to assign a new unique ID. And we created event ID. You can see this is custom field number 104. So you can imagine how many things we tried. So you can assign a new event, unique ID, and that was our event ID. And we redid all our process. Let me show you how. So first of all, this is our landing page. It's a Mautic landing page, but that button is a little bit special because when you click it, it will do a redirect in a way that it goes to a Mautic form where it adds the next available event ID as query parameter. So it says that, okay, if you click this button here, I will bring you to Mautic form and right away generate that the event ID should be the next available number, which is +1 as the highest event number. In this case, let's say number 11. And this is going to be a field at the bottom of of your form, something what you cannot edit. It's a read-only field, and it's going to create the new event. So once we create the new event, now you see the dashboard, the overview, how it would look like. This edit button has also that event ID as a query parameter. So that allows us to pre-fill all the information if we want to edit. So by passing the event ID, our new unique identifier, I can pull up all the information. Everything is beautifully pre-filled. All the data is editable. And at the end, we again have to put this event ID there. It's super important, and it's still going to be read-only. If you look into Mautic, these are just regular contacts. Like, there is nothing special about them, just that we know it's an event, but nobody else knows that. Since the client is never really logging in, I mean, most of the clients never be logging in from this client, like most of the coworkers, this is totally fine. We have the owner's email address as an email, so the communication is really flawless. We can take the event and put them in the journey, but instead of a contact journey, it's going to be an event journey. And the email address will be used for making all the notifications, even if it's multiple times in the database. And we are using vanilla Mautic campaigns. So everything is absolutely just regular Mautic, just the things are not happening. The events are not happening to contacts, but to events who happen to have the same email address very often. And this is the backbone. These 5 campaigns is what we need to run this. We don't need anything else. And it's been super easy to work from this moment on. So once we realized that we don't need the email address as unique identifier, all our problems were solved. And we could use Mautic's super features to build the campaigns and make the whole automations. I mean, this is the campaign here. Like, it cannot be more simple. This is the whole approval process. And we were actually like struggling that we created all this, this way of managing the cookies, the event ID and everything. And afterwards, started to use Mautic's built-in processes. It was like a charm, like lightning. We were so fast ready with the project. Okay, there are a couple more challenges. The one is the reporting and showing the overview. And here we had to go a little bit more into the coding. Let me show you the page, how it looks like. We have in this Mautic landing page, we have this add new event button. Then we have 2 tabs. One is the previous reports, then the new reports. We created a help button. It's all JavaScript. And in the editor, you cannot use JavaScript, but outside of the editor, there are 2 fields, add JavaScript to head and footer. Those we were using for adding the proper JavaScript. We also created a PHP script which returns this table. So the JavaScript is making a query. I will show it a little bit later. And then this table is pre-filled. We even made PDF downloads. So PDFs are really nasty. I mean, not the PDFs, but the form submissions, because they're not really connected to a contact in an easy way, in our case, to an event. So I coded a script where all the relevant form submissions from a certain form URL are listed here, so you can download the files, and it's working actually really good. The only thing is that I at this point I'm not showing many files. So if it's overwritten, so you have multiple form submissions to one PDF, you resubmitting, then always the newest one is shown, which I think is actually fine. And then we have some conditional fields, like for example, when a hotel is new, then you have this icon. When it's approved, you have another icon. For past events, we have, again, a list. These are the events which already happened. We have a budget there, and we have different reports. I'm not going to show it this one here, the reports. It's basically we're using Twig templates to generate most of the reports. It looks pretty cool. And we also have some aggregated data how many conversations happen between the salesperson and the doctors. And that's just, again, coming from the PHP file. And you can see here how Lukas worked with our design, with the design. This is a Mautic landing page editor. So everything is created here. Of course, Lukas is hand coding the CSS. It's on another level, but you can do it. And all the content, what you saw before, like this one, for example, and this one, are basically just two divs, the event div and the reports div. And the JavaScript outside of this page, on the previous landing page, head and footer area, that JavaScript is calling a PHP, the PHP is returning it, and the CSS is making the magic. Okay, so now our clients wants to do global events. We are very excited about that. I think we are ready for it. We just have to, make more custom fields. The logic is done, and I think it's a pretty good system. There's a couple of things we learned in this project. The one thing is I say this very often when people ask me what Mautic is used for. If you have a hammer in the hand, everything looks like a nail. I do everything with Mautic. Sometimes I think it's an overkill, but I really love this system, and I love the flexibility and where it can grow. So, and maybe it's a lack on my side that I'm not even learning other systems anymore, because I think you can do everything with Mautic what you want. The other thing is be ready to a lot more than the client ask. So this is client management 101, that the client will, first of all, will not know exactly what they want. And the second is that they will want more in the future if you're doing a good job. But what I wanted to say with this is that be ready, not you as a person, but your system should be ready for that. And I think Mautic in general, using plugins and other extensions, will be ready to satisfy any client needs. You just have to find a way, or you have to try to reach that point. So if we also rebuild this from scratch, I think 3 times. So please be ready to rebuild from scratch, and don't be afraid, because it will be 10 times faster. I mean, right now we learn how to, test these things, track what kind of cookie was left where, what is pre-filled, what is not. So you're just growing expertise, and you can use it in your future projects. If you need to go into the code, don't be afraid. We also had an issue that, for example, when it's about pre-populating the forms, the type number was just not there. Like somebody forgot to add it or deleted it accidentally from the code. So you could pre-populate all the form besides number fields. We were thinking to use text fields instead, but we needed the number to aggregate data. And we went into the code, and it was just the type number was just simply not there. Later, we found the PR which enables it, and got fixed. So that was actually a custom fix there. So go into the code, you will learn a lot. And what we also learned is that once we solve the problems with the Mautic, how Mautic is managing data, it was from that moment on, it was really fast. So you can really build all your projects around Mautic, use it as a foundation, use it as the brain of the thing, of the automation, even if it's event or it's a business process or whatever. It's a very strong foundation. So you can build anything you want. And Mautic, after all, I think can build anything. So any questions to us? Sorry, I didn't read the chat yet, so I'm gonna read the chat. Yes, first. Yeah.
I think that's my cue.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation, Joey. So there's one question coming from the chat saying, did the client go through a marketing automation discovery of the competitive landscape, and why did they decide to use Mautic?
in general. Why would anyone use Mautic? And there's many reasons for that. I will say a couple of examples. First of all, there is a GDPR issue. In many countries, you cannot just host data somewhere, and in some countries, like very private data, you cannot host, outside of the borders at all. And in Switzerland, especially, we experienced this, that our clients don't want to go even in the EU. So very few companies came in the picture. The second one is they wanted to have a partner who they can pick up the phone and talk to. That's very important. And many companies not offering that. So Luke actually goes onto goes on the phone and talks to the client. And we have very special relationship with them. And I think, that no one else would do it. Basically, that's also one of the reasons. So they didn't find anyone like us, and that's an advantage what small companies have, which probably we will lose if we go big. But right now, we enjoy.
Maybe we can add at this point, Joy, that we were already in a relationship with them, and we did already 2 successful projects for them, and then it came up with the third one, and then there was like really the trust was already here. They made a quick research, but you have to imagine that this event management, I mean, they do about 200 events per year, and this was everything did on paper. And they had that was a lot of resources which they used. And we did 2 projects for them before, which saved them about, I don't know, 80K per year. So there was already like very, very happy, and try this to go now with this. And as we said, now I think they can save a lot of time and money with digitalization of this project, and they can save the data in Switzerland. We have contracts with them on our servers. Our headquarters is in Switzerland. They can visit us, and I think that's a lot of benefits, which maybe an American tool which would provide all the services in one, that would be maybe not the trust here. Yeah, to summarize this. Any more questions? Maybe also to landing pages or email.
First of all, thanks, Jeremy, for your question. I think we have time for one more, and I just saw something popping up in the Q&A section. So, question comes from Joey, and the question is, why use a tool that's specialized in marketing, and it is good to solve a business problem, and not tools that are closer or more adapted to this type of issue? Your customization argument is totally valid with hundreds of other tools out there.
So why not use an open source event management platform, for example? Yeah. I have one answer for that. And Luke, please just tell me if I did not understand something right from the client. But when we started to work with them and we created the intranet and we created also this management of the marketing part of the, talking to doctors, then she right away thought about us because she wanted to have a team what she already trusts. So we built them this event platform with the prospect that at one point this can be also connected to their marketing Mautic as well. So those people who are attending a certain event, like this event contact entity, can be linked also with another Mautic platform in a way that we can identify who participated on a certain event. And then you suddenly have a connection of these 10 people generated so much revenue. They attended a certain event, which had a budget of so much and so much. So suddenly you can calculate return on investment. And if you connect it with the contact owners, which is event owners basically, you can understand which from your team is making the most lucrative events. So you have efficiency growth in multiple sides. So they wanted to keep everything in a tool what they know. And they really like Mautic. So the person, our contact person, learned it and she really likes it. So she was a little bit worried about introducing another tool.
And in general, I would like to add that Mautic is not so far from an event management tool in general, and like also without the additional code of joy, because you have all the emails. Man, what do you need? You need emails for reminders, emails for approval, maybe emails to invite. They all have this already. Why to use an additional tool? You have the members, yeah, which you later can use. You can say like, hey, send a reminder to the event, but exclude all the people which already are attending, yeah, etc. And this is all given already, and that's amazing what Mautic can do. And you have this a lot of free fields, yeah, which other tools have limitations. So I would say Mautic with some additional code is the perfect partner for such challenges. And I also have to say, I mean, Joy now told you a big story, but in the end, he was very fast finding out the last solution. Yeah, I mean, it sounded a little bit more complicated than it really was in the end. And yeah, we actually prepared a demo version. I think we have now not the time, but maybe we later can share the demo version, Joy, where you can click through the front end, create an event, etc.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, definitely check out the lobby area of the event platform here. In any case, that's a recommendation to everyone listening. Join the lobby after this session, and then feel free to shoot more questions in the direction of those two. I think we have like space for one last question, and that is coming from me, actually. I had no intention of doing so, but of course, I was looking at your presentation from a marketing point of view, as this is my profession. And my question is like, what do you think? Would it be possible to sell this solution to other clients? Or is it something that you specifically built for that one client, and that's the end of the story?
So it's very specific, this solution. But the thing is that this is also why we wanted to make this presentation with Luke, not because we wanted to say, hey, we did this, but we wanted to show that you can do this. Like, just think about Mautic not as the contact is a contact. Like, think about it as maybe it's a business process, maybe it's a car, maybe it's a song, maybe it's a game, maybe it's something else what you want to sell, maybe it's a reservation. So you have to keep your mind open about what you use what you substitute that contact with, and you can make any kind of process management by using Mautic. So I would not sell this one, but using what we learned, we can build anything for someone else as well.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Okay, people, then I would say let's call this session a day. Thanks so much, Joey, for the session, for presenting, for giving some insights about what happened in the project, and also what came out of it. And thanks also, Lukas, for joining and answering the questions. Thanks everybody for joining. And I wish you a splendid rest of the Mautic Conference Global 2024. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Niklas. See you. Thanks for your questions. Bye.
Thank you very much.